You're listening to the IT Career Energizer podcast, episode 20.
Welcome to the IT Career Energizer podcast. For anyone who wants to build and grow a career in IT, develop and improve your strengths and skills, be inspired and motivated by the successes of others, manage your career progression, and achieve your IT career goals. And now, your host, Phil Burgess.
Hi, Phil here, and welcome to the IT Career Energizer podcast, where I chat with inspiring IT professionals, consultants, and experts every week. To find out more about the podcast, visit itcareerenergizer.com. And now let's chat with today's featured guest, Laurence Bradford. Laurence is the creator of Learn to Code with Me, helping people to get ahead in their careers and ultimately find more fulfilment in their lives. Laurence has developed a passion for education and specialises in product education and product management in the EdTech industry. So Laurence, can you perhaps fill in a little bit around that brief bio?
Yes, and thank you again, Philip, for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be here. So that was a great intro. Aside from the Learn to Code with Me podcast and working now in EdTech, I also have a lot of experience writing on other publications. I currently am a contributor for the Forbes Under 30 channel, and in the past I've had writing go on a bunch of other sites, tech writing and also some less technical writing. And I think aside from that, you really covered everything.
Great. Can you share with us a unique career tip that the IT Career Energizer audience need to know and probably don't?
Yes, so I'm calling this reverse engineering your job hunt. So my audience on the Learn to Code with Me blog and also on Forbes is primarily career changers. So people that are looking to get into tech or make a career transition in tech. And one of the most common questions I get asked is, what should I learn? So I always tell people to do this kind of general exercise, that first they should look or research companies that they're interested in working at. At the same time, they should research specific roles that they would like to do at those companies. And once they get a list of, really all you need is 5 to 10 kind of dream job roles and at these dream companies you would love to work for one day, really dissect those job listings. Look for, day-to-day responsibilities they're looking for. Also notice what skills and technology the job is calling for. And then based on these job listings, I think it's great to kind of make another spreadsheet or add it in your existing spreadsheet, all the different skills and responsibilities. And then you can just base your learning and your progression based on those items.
Yeah. So you make it quite an analytical process.
Yes, and that's exactly what I did during my last job hunt, which was a bit over a year ago, or actually probably even a year and a half ago at this point, before I began working at Teachable, which is a platform to create and sell online courses. I really researched a ton of companies I was already familiar with, a bunch I wanted to work at, found dream job listings, and figured out the areas where I lacked and that I could then improve upon.
Can you tell us about your worst IT career moment, and what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, so there's been a bunch. I feel like this is one of those questions where it's good to look further back in time when you've had time to kind of reflect on what happened and really know what you could have done better.
Yes.
So when I first got into tech, or I was first transitioning into tech, mind you, I studied history and economics in college, so I do not have a technical degree, and about a year after college, I began to start teaching myself how to code and how to build websites. Early on, I jumped around a little too much or way too much as far as what I was learning. So one week I'd be learning Python. Then another week I would start learning JavaScript and then Ruby on Rails. And I would just jump around a bunch to make projects, to go with these learnings, never finish them. And I kind of found myself running in circles for about a year. It was really until I started the Learn to Code with Me blog is when everything started to align. But I had been learning for a while and trying to teach myself and transition into tech a year before that. So as far as lessons learned, I do think it's fine to change gears into, you're always going to be evolving in your career. I've evolved many times since that. But as long as you're heading in the right direction, that aligns with like your greater career goals. And at the time when I first began learning, I never really put much thought into that. I kind of had this conception, I'm going to become a full stack web developer, and that's that. And I never really gave it much thought. So I was all over the place with my learning.
Yeah. So moving on from your worst memory, can you share with us your IT career highlight or greatest success?
So there's definitely been a few. It's really difficult to pick just one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to go with starting the Learn to Code with Me blog, and not just starting it, but growing it and nurturing it. It's something I still do to this day. It's a blog and also now a podcast, and I have a Facebook group that goes off of that. And the reason is that really kick-started everything else in my career. That led me to helping coding boot camps create curriculum for their courses, which then led to this interest in EdTech, which led me to Teachable, and I moved to New York City for that position. So I just see this sort of trickle-down effect of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it all started with the Learn to Code with Me blog. So that has to be like my highlight of anything I've done.
Okay. What one thing excites you about the future of a career in IT?
So there's a lot of things. What really excites me right now is, and I don't know a ton about this area, but I'm hoping to learn more, is machine learning, artificial intelligence, and data science.
Yeah.
So through my writing on Forbes, I get to interview a lot of awesome people in the tech space. And the past few months, I've been interviewing a lot of folks that are either in machine learning or AI or data science. And it's still an area I'm learning more about. It's not something I do in my day-to-day. It's more so people that I speak to that get me really excited about it. But I think there's a lot of potential there. And for anyone who may be listening to the show that is unsure with what path they want to take in tech, I would definitely encourage looking into those areas.
Yes, I think data in particular is an area that is growing in importance every day.
Yeah, I have an article on Forbes. I forget the exact headline, but it's something like "Data is the new oil." It's from a quote. In an interview, someone had said that, but I see it more and more as I talk to different companies through my work at Teachable, how important having data is behind, whatever business you're doing. For us, it's our customers and, the patterns and whatnot with their behavior on our product.
Yeah. We're going to move into the reveal round. So what attracted you to a career in IT?
I was living in Thailand at the time, and I thought I wanted to pursue a career in economic development. Turns out, after my first job in that field, I realized very fast it was not for me. I had a little mini self-identity crisis because I thought that's what I wanted to do for several years. I researched online and looked for in-demand fields that you didn't need a college degree to get into. Of course, tech is one of the top ones, and that's kind of the short story of how I got into it.
What is the best career advice you've ever received?
For me, I always had problems focusing, and I've been told in many different ways, whether it's from a direct mentor or from maybe a person I look up to in the tech space and reading their blog or listening to their podcast, just the idea of focusing and really not multitasking. And if you're working on a certain project, focusing on that to completion before putting your attention in something else.
Yes, that's a very useful piece of advice. So many people try to take on too many things at the same time and never finish anything. So, focus until completion.
Yes, it's something I still struggle with, but I always try to be mindful of it.
Yeah. If you were to begin your IT career again right now, what would you do?
Oh, that's so easy. What I said before, something with data science and perhaps machine learning or artificial intelligence.
Okay. And what career objectives are you focusing on right now?
So I'm continuing to grow the Learn to Code with Me podcast and blog and keep that well-oiled and well-maintained on the side. And then as far as my full-time job, I am in product management now. So I would like to continue down a path of product management. If we're talking like further into the future, a dream of mine is to be a COO at a company, but that's probably in like 10 plus years.
That's a good objective to have. So in terms of your Learn to Code, do you see that as something that's going to progressively grow?
most people start a blog on the side of their full-time job. I actually did the opposite. So I started the blog when I was transitioning into tech. I was working part-time, but I was not working full-time. So I had a ton of time to dedicate on the blog and growing that. It really took a bit to kind of take off. Now it still receives and it's still growing in readership, not as quickly as it was when that was my number one priority. For the time being, I am definitely still going to be maintaining that. It's really fulfilling for me to help people in their careers and write articles that are helping people transition into tech, because I know how much it changed in my life. So I really do want to help others. That's kind of how I see it right now. So more of a side hustle than a full-time commitment. But who knows, that may change again.
Yeah. What's the number one non-technical skill that has helped you in your career?
Without a doubt, writing. And I've always enjoyed writing. And if you spoke to friends, during high school and college, they would say, oh, Laurence was always good at writing. But it's something, when I read my older articles from a few years ago, I absolutely cringe. So I've made a lot of progress since. But being able to write, I think, is such an important skill to have, whether it's writing emails, whether it's writing blog posts, whether it's writing internal documentation. It's just being able to communicate through writing has helped me a ton.
Can you share a parting piece of career advice with the IT Career Energizer audience?
Yeah, so kind of in line with a few of the things I already mentioned, I would say staying focused and finishing projects until completion. Of course, sometimes it does make sense to stop a project and not finish it, but to really be intentional about that. The other one that I think I also harped on a bit, especially for people transitioning into tech, don't learn 1,000 things at once. I always use this analogy. If you were learning a new language, like a speaking language, you wouldn't try to learn French, Russian, and Mandarin at the same time, right? You would literally lose your mind. And there's many people I know that are trying to transition into tech who are learning JavaScript, Python, SQL, all at the same time. So I always tell people learn one programming language first and then master that and then move on to the next one. And then learning the next one will be so much easier once you have those fundamentals down. Yes,
no, I agree with you. I think there's always a danger of overwhelm if you try to take on too many things at once as well. And then it becomes difficult just to complete one thing rather than multiple things, which becomes almost unachievable.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And finally, can you tell us the best way that we can find out more about you and potentially connect with you?
Yes, of course. So you could find me on my website, learntocodewith.me. From there, you can find links to the blog and the podcast. As far as social media goes, the best way to probably connect with me is on Twitter, and the handle is @LearnCodeWithMe. And yeah, I think those are the two best ways.
Laurence, thank you so much for joining me on the IT Career Energizer podcast today. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's great interview with Laurence Bradford. Full show notes can be found on the website at itcareerenergizer.com/E20. And while you're at the website, you can download your free copy of 11 top career tips for IT professionals, many of which have been previously discussed on the show. In next week's episode, I'll be talking with David Rail, host of the Developer on Fire podcast. If you haven't already done so, please remember to subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher to get future episodes automatically downloaded to your device. And if you're enjoying the podcast, I'd really appreciate you leaving a rating and review in iTunes or Stitcher about the show. So until next Monday, have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the IT Career Energizer podcast. To find out more about building a successful career in IT, visit itcareerenergizer.com.